Have you ever watched a movie series out of order? You jump from the second story to the fifth story and you wonder, how on earth did the good guys get trapped in this snow? Weren't they just in a rocky desert? Why is this army coming after them? Weren't those guys in white the good guys? And now they're shooting at the good guys? What on earth is going on? And then you feel really lost? Well, I have. Well, this can happen when you bounce around reading the Old Testament, whether it is your daily reading plan or your pastor's sermon series. There are major events that occur throughout the Old Testament, and if you are not familiar with them, you can be lost reading certain passages. So here are 5 major events that are crucial for following the Old Testament story. Welcome, explorers, and on this channel we typically explore post-Bible church history, but today I wanted to share 5 major Old Testament events that will help you follow the Old Testament story. So let's dive in. Number 1. After King Solomon, in 1 Kings chapter 12, Israel divides into 2 countries. Only 3 kings ruled a united Israel: Saul, David, and Solomon. And then Israel divides into 2 countries. This division is inventively called the Divided Kingdom. King Solomon did much good during his reign, but towards the end of his rule, he allowed the worship of other gods in Israel. Therefore, God divided Israel into 2 nations. Solomon's son Rehoboam becomes the king of the southern nation, and Jeroboam, a man who God makes a similar promise to as he did King David in 1 Kings chapter 11 verses 38 and 39. He becomes the king of the northern kingdom. But here is where this point gets tricky. The northern nation retains the name Israel, and the southern nation uses the name Judah. Both nations are still biblically considered to be the people of God. And why are the names Israel and Judah so tricky? Because both names are used before this division. During the reigns of Saul, David, and Solomon, Israel refers to the entirety of the single nation, and Judah is a region within the nation of Israel. And after Solomon, Israel is the northern kingdom, and Judah is the southern kingdom. Solomon and before, Israel geographically is the entire single nation, and Judah is a region within it. And after Solomon, Israel is the name of the northern kingdom, and Judah is the southern kingdom. So when you hear Judah after Solomon, it is a nation with its own king. And the king over Israel does not reign over the entirety of Palestine, just the northern bits. Number 2. The Assyrian Empire invades and conquers Israel, as in the northern kingdom, because this is after the time of Solomon. In the 700s BCE, Assyria begins to harass, fight, and invade and enslave the Israelites, and their final defeat occurs in 722 BCE. Assyria crushes Israel and takes the northern tribes of Israel as slaves within their empire. This defeat is recounted in 2 Kings chapter 17, and it is referenced in various other places. And if you have ever been reading in the end of Kings or Chronicles and wondered, why are we so focused on the kings of Judah? What's going on in Israel? Well, this invasion is why. Israel is no longer a nation. It has fallen to the Assyrians. But the Assyrians' defeat of Israel, the northern kingdom, is often overshadowed by the next number on our list. Number 3. The Babylonian Empire invades and conquers Judah, as in the southern kingdom. In the late 600s BCE, Babylon begins to war with Judah, taking some Jews captive on multiple occasions. Judah's ultimate and final defeat, including the sacking of Jerusalem in this war, comes in 587 or 586 BCE, and you can read of this defeat in 2 Kings chapter 24. Solomon's temple is destroyed and the Jews are enslaved by Babylon. Several prophetic books take place in Babylon during this enslavement, such as Daniel and Ezekiel. Now, number 4. The Persians defeat Babylon in 539 BCE. King Cyrus of Persia rules the Middle East and rules in a very different fashion than the Assyrians and the Babylonians. He does not enslave the Jews. In fact, Cyrus issues an edict that frees the Jews from slavery, see 2 Chronicles 36, and Jews for the first time in decades and centuries in regard to the northern kingdom are free to make decisions on their lives, which brings us to number 5. Some Jews return to Palestine, and some Jews remain where they were within the Persian Empire. As a free people, they choose where they live, and as any group of people, they don't all make the same decision. The main story surrounding the Jews that remained where they were within Persia and did not make the trek back to Palestine can be found in the book of Esther. The stories of those returning to rebuild Palestine from the destruction of the wars that took place there can be found in Nehemiah and Ezra and some of the prophetic books. They rebuild the walls of Jerusalem and the temple. You may have heard of Second Temple Judaism. Well, the Second Temple refers to the temple built during this era, which you can read about in the book of Ezra. And this rebuilding of Israel is not a new free nation of Israel. It's still a part of the Persian Empire. So when it is called Israel, it's still a part of Persia. So yeah, the term Israel can be very tricky in the Bible. The name Israel is used geopolitically in at least 4 ways in the Old Testament. 1 can refer to the Jewish people. 2, the United Kingdom of Saul, David, and Solomon. 3, the northern kingdom after Solomon. 4, a province in the Persian Empire after King Cyrus' edict freeing the Jews. And on top of all of that geopolitical stuff, it can also refer to a person. Jacob's individual name was changed to Israel in Genesis 32:28. So, you have to know your history to know what Israel even means in a particular passage. Old Testament history can be confusing. Israel means something different during the reign of David than it does during the reign of Ahab. Judah means something different during the reign of Saul and the reign of Josiah. It can be confusing when you read of a great many Jews returning to Jerusalem to rebuild the walls in the book of Nehemiah, and in the very next book in the Bible, Esther, you're back in the capital of Persia. So it is important to keep these 5 major events in mind to help you keep track of the Old Testament story. Israel divides into 2 nations after King Solomon. The northern kingdom keeps the name Israel, and the southern kingdom takes on the name of Judah. The northern kingdom of Israel is defeated and enslaved by the Assyrians in 722 BCE. The southern kingdom of Judah is defeated and enslaved by the Babylonians in 587 or 586 BCE. And Persia then defeats Babylon and frees the Jews from slavery. And with this newfound freedom, some Jews return to rebuild Palestine, and some remain where they are within the Persian Empire. Well, I hope this helps you keep the Old Testament story straight in your mind and prevents future confusion. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, my bibliography is in the description below. Be blessed.